Have you ever felt a hesitation deep inside when it comes to intimacy, whether emotional or physical, but couldn't quite put your finger on why? You love your partner, you care for them, but there's something about closeness that feels complicated. If you've ever felt this way, I want you to know you're not alone. As we get older, intimacy takes on new layers. It's not just about romance or passion, it's about vulnerability, connection, and sometimes facing parts of ourselves that we've kept tucked away for years. And yet, many seniors secretly struggle with intimacy in ways they never expected. Maybe it's due to past experiences, changes in the body, or even fears of being truly seen by someone after decades of life's ups and downs. The truth is, intimacy isn't just about the physical, it's about trust, openness, and the courage to let someone in. But why is this such a hidden struggle? Why do so many people in long-term relationships, or even those entering new ones later in life, find themselves pulling away when it comes to deep connection? In this video, we're going to talk about why some seniors secretly fear intimacy and, more importantly, how to overcome it. And before we dive in, I want to invite you to be part of this conversation. If any of this resonates with you, share your thoughts in the comments. Whether you've struggled with this yourself or found ways to deepen your connection, your experiences can help others who might be feeling the same way. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe so we can keep having real, meaningful discussions like this one. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest reasons intimacy can feel scary: changes in how we see ourselves. For many people, aging brings a shift in self-image. Maybe you don't feel as confident in your body as you once did. Maybe you worry about how your partner sees you now compared to years ago. This isn't just about appearance, it's about feeling comfortable in your own skin. When we don't feel good about ourselves, it's easy to put up walls without even realizing it. We avoid certain moments, we shy away from deep conversations, and over time, the distance grows. But here's something important to remember. Intimacy isn't about looking a certain way. It's about presence. It's about showing up fully, as you are, without fear of judgment. The people who love us don't see us through the same critical lens we see ourselves. They see the person they've shared a life with, the person they laugh with, the person they turn to in their hardest moments. And sometimes, all it takes is a shift in perspective to start feeling comfortable again. Instead of focusing on what's changed, focus on what remains: the deep connection, the shared experiences, the understanding that comes from years together. When you start to appreciate yourself for who you are now, rather than who you used to be, it becomes easier to let someone else in. And this doesn't just apply to physical intimacy. Emotional intimacy, the ability to be vulnerable, to share your fears, your thoughts, your dreams without hesitation, can be just as intimidating. Sometimes, after years of marriage, couples stop having those deep conversations. Not because they don't care, but because routines take over, life gets busy. The same old discussions about bills, family, or day-to-day responsibilities replace the talks about hopes and feelings. But emotional intimacy is the foundation of any close relationship. Without it, the physical connection can start to feel distant too. And the good news? It's never too late to rebuild that emotional closeness. It can start with something as simple as asking different questions, ones that spark real conversations. Instead of, "How was your day?" try, "What's something that made you feel really happy this week?" Instead of assuming you know everything about your partner, ask them something new, about their dreams, their memories, even the things they might still be figuring out. The key is to create moments of connection, where both people feel truly seen and heard. And that means being willing to let your guard down, even just a little. Now you might be thinking, what if I try and my partner doesn't respond? What if they've built up their own walls over the years? That's where patience comes in. Intimacy isn't something that can be forced. It has to be nurtured gently and consistently. And as we continue this discussion, we'll explore the deeper reasons intimacy can feel difficult and, more importantly, how to break through those barriers in a way that feels safe and natural. So, let's talk about that in the next part. Why past experiences, even those we may have long forgotten, can shape the way we approach intimacy today. It's interesting how past experiences, even those we haven't thought about in years, can quietly shape the way we approach intimacy today. We like to believe that we leave the past behind us, that time washes away old wounds, but the truth is, some emotions don't fade. they just settle beneath the surface, influencing how we interact with the people closest to us. Think about it. Have you ever had a moment where you pulled away from a loving touch without really knowing why? Or maybe you hesitated before opening up about something impersonal, not because you didn't trust your partner, but because something deep inside told you to hold back. Sometimes these reactions don't come from the present moment at all. They come from old patterns, old fears, and experiences that shape the way we learn to protect ourselves. For some people, intimacy, both emotional and physical, has always been a challenge. Maybe they grew up in a home where affection wasn't openly expressed. Maybe they were taught, whether directly or indirectly, that vulnerability was a weakness. Or maybe they experienced heartbreak, betrayal, or loss earlier in life that made it harder to fully trust again. And even if those moments happened decades ago, the emotional imprint can linger. This is why intimacy, especially later in life, isn't just about the relationship itself. It's about healing, about understanding yourself, about recognizing where certain fears come from so they don't keep you from experiencing true connection. One of the most common fears that people carry, even into their senior years, is the fear of abandonment. Maybe a past relationship ended painfully, or maybe there was a time when someone they loved deeply let them down. Even if life moved on, that fear can stay tucked away, influencing how much of themselves they allow their partner to see. They might keep a small emotional distance, afraid that if they lean in too much, they might one day be left alone. Then there's the fear of being misunderstood. As we get older, our thoughts, emotions, and needs evolve. Sometimes people don't express what they truly want, whether it's affection, reassurance, or even just deeper conversation, because they worry their partner won't understand or won't respond the way they hope. So, instead of risking rejection or discomfort, they stay silent. But silence creates distance, and over time, that distance becomes a habit. So, how do we break these patterns? How do we begin to move past the fears and allow ourselves to experience true, meaningful intimacy? It starts with awareness, just recognizing that certain fears or hesitations might not actually be about the present moment is a powerful first step. The next time you feel yourself pulling away, whether physically, emotionally, or even in small ways, like avoiding eye contact or brushing off a compliment, pause and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I afraid of? Then, try something simple. Lean in instead of pulling away. If your partner reaches for your hand, let yourself feel the moment instead of thinking about it. If they ask how you're feeling, don't dismiss it with a quick, I'm fine. Say something real, even if it's small. Connection doesn't have to come from grand gestures. It grows in the little moments, in the choice to be present instead of guarded. And if you feel like these fears or patterns run deeper than you can handle alone, that's okay too. Sometimes talking to someone, a close friend, a trusted family member, even a therapist, can help you untangle emotions that have been buried for years. There's nothing wrong with needing support and rediscovering intimacy. It's not about fixing anything. It's about understanding yourself better so you can open up in ways that feel safe and natural. One of the most beautiful things about love and connection is that it's never too late to deepen it. No matter how many years you've been with someone, no matter how much distance has formed, there is always a way to rebuild closeness. It starts with small steps, with little shifts in how you respond, in how you allow yourself to be seen. And in the next part, we'll talk about something that plays a huge role in intimacy: communication. Because so often what feels like a lack of connection is really just a lack of understanding. And when you learn how to communicate in a way that brings you closer, instead of creating more distance, everything else starts to fall into place. Communication is the foundation of any deep and meaningful relationship. Yet, it's also one of the biggest barriers to intimacy. Think about it. How many times have you wanted to say something, but you held back? Maybe you thought your partner wouldn't understand, or maybe you assumed they wouldn't react the way you hoped. Over time, those unspoken thoughts pile up, creating invisible walls between two people who love each other. It's not always about big conflicts or dramatic misunderstandings. Sometimes it's the quiet, everyday things that create distance. When one person makes an effort to express something but feels unheard, they eventually stop trying. When someone needs reassurance but doesn't know how to ask for it, they begin to assume they have to face things alone. And when moments of closeness aren't acknowledged or reciprocated, intimacy starts to feel like something that belongs to the past rather than the present. The truth is, most people aren't avoiding intimacy because they don't care. They're avoiding it because they don't know how to bridge the gap. But the good news is, communication is a skill. And just like any skill, it can be learned and improved no matter how long two people have been together. One of the simplest yet most powerful shifts you can make is replacing assumptions with curiosity. It's easy to assume we already know what our partner is thinking or feeling. After years together, we believe we can predict their reactions, their thoughts, their emotions. But people change, needs change, and the only way to truly understand what someone needs is to ask. For example, instead of assuming that your partner knows how much you appreciate them, say it. A simple, "I love how you always take care of the little things," or "I don't say this enough, but I really admire you," can break through years of unspoken distance. Likewise, instead of assuming that your partner isn't interested in deeper conversations, try opening up about something on your mind and inviting their thoughts. Even if it feels unfamiliar at first, creating space for real conversations can transform the way you connect. But communication isn't just about words. It's also about how we respond. Many people don't realize that they unintentionally shut down moments of connection without meaning to. Dismissing a partner's concerns with, "Oh, don't worry about it," or "You're overthinking things," might seem harmless, but over time, it sends a message that their feelings don't matter. The same goes for avoiding difficult conversations. If one person brings up a concern about the relationship, and the other quickly changes the subject or downplays it, it doesn't make the issue go away. It just makes it harder to talk about next time. So, one of the best ways to strengthen intimacy is through something called active listening. This means not just hearing words, but truly listening with the intention of understanding. It means putting aside distractions, making eye contact, and responding in a way that shows you value what's being shared. For instance, instead of reacting defensively or rushing to offer solutions, try reflecting back what you hear. If your partner says, "I feel like we don't spend as much time together as we used to," instead of saying, "That's not true, we just had dinner together last night," try, "I didn't realize you were feeling that way. Tell me more." Just that small change in approach can turn a potential argument into an opportunity to reconnect. And when it comes to intimacy, both emotional and physical, open communication is key. Many people assume that if certain aspects of their relationship have changed over time, there's no way to reignite what once was. But that's simply not true. The couples who maintain strong intimacy over the years are the ones who talk about it. They check in with each other. They express what makes them feel close, what makes them feel loved, and they listen when their partner does the same. Now, if deep conversations haven't been a part of your relationship in the past, it might feel awkward at first. That's completely normal, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. You don't have to start with life-changing discussions. Sometimes just making a habit of sharing little things, like what made you smile today, or something you're looking forward to, can open the door for deeper connection. And if there are unresolved emotions, resentments, misunderstandings, or feelings that have been buried over the years, communication is the only way to bring clarity and healing. It's never too late to have a conversation that changes everything. So, as we move into the final part of this discussion, we're going to explore one of the most overlooked but essential elements of intimacy: emotional safety. Because no matter how well two people communicate, intimacy can only thrive when both partners feel truly safe to be themselves. Emotional safety is one of the most powerful yet often overlooked foundations of intimacy. It's what allows people to let their guard down, to express their true thoughts and feelings, and to feel genuinely accepted for who they are. Without it, even the closest relationships can feel distant. Think about it. Have you ever felt like you had to walk on eggshells around your partner? Maybe there were moments when you wanted to share something deeply personal, but hesitated because you weren't sure how they would react. Or perhaps you've been on the receiving end, where your partner seemed withdrawn, keeping parts of themselves hidden from you. This isn't necessarily because they don't care. It's often because, at some point, they didn't feel entirely safe being vulnerable. Emotional safety isn't just about avoiding arguments or being polite to each other. It's about knowing, deep down, that you can be honest, express your emotions, and share your needs without fear of judgment, criticism, or rejection. It's about feeling truly seen and accepted by the person you love. But here's the challenge. Many people don't realize when emotional safety has been lost in a relationship. It doesn't happen overnight. It's usually the result of small, repeated moments where trust is weakened, when feelings are dismissed, when vulnerability is met with defensiveness, or when past mistakes are brought up in moments of tension. Over time, this creates an unspoken barrier between two people, making it harder to connect on a deeper level. So, how do you rebuild emotional safety? The first step is creating an environment where both you and your partner feel heard and respected. This means making a conscious effort to listen without judgment. When your partner opens up about something, resist the urge to correct, criticize, or immediately offer solutions. Instead, acknowledge what they're sharing. A simple, "I hear you," or "that makes sense," can go a long way in making someone feel safe to keep sharing. Another key aspect is trust, not just in the sense of faithfulness, but in knowing that your partner will treat your feelings with care. This means following through on promises, being honest even about difficult things, and showing through actions, not just words, that you are a team. When both partners know they can rely on each other, it naturally deepens intimacy. Apologies also play a big role in emotional safety. Many people underestimate the power of a genuine apology. It's not just about saying, "I'm sorry," but about acknowledging the impact of your words or actions. When someone feels that their hurt is recognized, it allows healing to take place. At the same time, learning to forgive, both your partner and yourself, is essential. Holding on to resentment creates emotional distance, while letting go of past wounds makes room for new, positive experiences. Beyond words, small gestures of care and reassurance can reinforce emotional safety. A simple touch, a warm smile, or a thoughtful act can remind your partner that they are valued and cherished. When was the last time you looked at your partner with admiration? Or did something unexpected just to make them smile? These moments, though small, have a profound impact on how connected two people feel. And perhaps the most important thing to remember is that intimacy isn't just about the physical. True closeness comes from being emotionally present with each other. It's in the quiet moments of understanding, the shared laughter, the knowing glances that speak volumes without a word. It's in the ability to sit together in silence and still feel deeply connected. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to remind you that it's never too late to strengthen intimacy in a relationship. No matter how many years have passed, no matter what challenges have come before, every day is an opportunity to create deeper connection. If today's discussion resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever struggled with intimacy in your relationship? What has helped you reconnect with your partner? Share your insights in the comments. Your experiences could inspire and help someone else on their journey. And if you found value in this conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Our community is built on meaningful discussions, and your engagement helps keep these conversations alive. Remember, true intimacy isn't about being perfect. It's about being present, being open, and being willing to grow together. You deserve deep, fulfilling connections in your life, and it's never too late to create them.